Welcome back. I'm here with Amanda Klein. She is a film studies professor at East Carolina. Hi, Amanda. Thank you so much for being with us.
Hi, Brittany. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, so how did you like the movie?
I liked it. I thought the town was good. I thought it was a good heist film.
Yeah?
What did you think of it?
I enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it?
I saw it for the first time, and I thought it was great. It held my attention, and
Except for the part where you fell asleep.
yeah, except for I got a little tired, but I really enjoyed it. So I have a couple questions I want to ask you. The film is titled The Town. What town is the title referring to? Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, so the movie is set in Charlestown, which
Okay.
is a neighborhood outside of Boston. And so the film is titled The Town because location is really important to this film. Before the movie starts, we get a little black screen that tells us that it is the bank robbery and armored car robbery capital of the world,
all
or
that
something
was
like
true
that.
at the beginning?
I kind of looked into that a little bit. It seems like the statistics have dropped over the years, but at one point it was definitely known to be sort of a crime town. So that's an important part. We're also told that crime is kind of passed down from father to son. And that's also an important theme of the film, that the crime is kept within the family, and it's really hard to break the cycle of violence. So all of this is really important to what happens in the film. It's very hard for the main character, Doug, to break away from the crime and from family and from ties to friends. So I think it's a good title for this film because location is so central to this
that's
town.
interesting. When I was watching the beginning, that's the first thing I thought. I was like, I want to know if that's actually true about the actual town. So characters in the film talk about townies and toonies. What is that?
So I had not heard these distinctions before because I'm not from the Boston area, but apparently I guess townies would be the main characters in the movie. So Doug, his crew, they're primarily Irish American. They've grown up in this area. Their families grew up in this area. Working class, blue collar type of people. Then the toonies, I guess, and I'm not sure where that comes from, but I guess it's just a variation on townies, are people who move into the area to gentrify it. So I guess Charleston has a lot of beautiful colonial architecture, so a lot of white-collar people move into the town, renovate apartment buildings, move in, and there's a little bit of resentment there. And you can see that at various moments in the film where there's resentment between the classes.
Definitely see that.
So so that becomes important between Doug and Claire. Obviously, she's a toonie, he's a townie.
Right.
So that comes up a lot as well.
Yeah, interesting. So where does this film draw its inspiration? Do you know anything about?
Well, it's a heist film, and I'm sure you figured that out right away, right? The first scene is we're dropped into the middle of one of their big bank jobs.
Right.
And heist films are films which really focus on a crime. So, crime films often go into the backstory of the criminal. Sometimes a little attention is paid to the crimes they commit, but heist films really do focus on the crime. They detail the steps it takes to execute the crime. You get to see step by step how they go into the bank, how they break the safe, how they do all those things. And heist films are generally focus on a small group of small-time criminals. So these aren't the big wigs, these aren't the head gangsters. We see Fergie, who works in the flower shop.
Right.
He's in charge of this group. He tends to orchestrate it, but he doesn't really get his hands dirty. So heist films tend to focus on the little guy, and they're often somewhat powerless to break away from the crime. And what else about the heist films that I want to tell you? And there's usually at least one person who's sort of a live wire in the group who's going to potentially ruin it. And of course, we have that with Jeremy Renner, right?
Yeah, you can definitely see that.
Yes. So, and you kind of know from the beginning he's going to cause problems.
Yeah, definitely. What other films does the town seem to be quoting? What?
Well, have you seen Point Break?
I haven't.
From the early 90s. That's a Patrick Swayze movie, Keanu Reeves. It's kind of fun. And they also focus on a group of bank robbers. They call themselves the ex-presidents. And they wear, I think, Nixon masks, Jimmy Carter masks, when they go into the banks to rob. And that's these very iconic images from the film. And the town also plays on that because, of course, they wear these very interesting masks. The nun masks. Yeah. So I think he's consciously quoting Point Break when he does that. Not like it's some cinema classic, but it's definitely, I think he can't avoid being compared to that movie.
Yeah, I can see that, definitely. And there are a lot of characters in this film that play against their type. Like Blake Lively, we're used to seeing her, you know, the gossip girl, the complete opposite. This movie, she played a cocaine addict. What's that about? There were a lot of people that played against their type.
Well, so I don't know if you watch Gossip Girl, but yeah, she plays this upper class, beautiful, wears beautiful clothing, all these designers, and then in this movie, she's supposed to be low class, uneducated, addicted to, I think it's cocaine, a single mother, and so, you know, she's very much playing against type, and you have to wonder, well, why would Ben Affleck or the studio choose to cast Blake Lively? But I think they chose her precisely because it drew a lot of attention to the film. A lot of the press circulating around the film while it was being made was about a potential affair between Blake Lively and Ben Affleck, which I don't think happened, of course. But you know, but it brought a lot of attention. I mean, I remember hearing about the town for a lot because of Blake Lively. So I think that's why they did it. But we talked about this before the segment started, that she did a pretty good job.
Yeah, she did.
It was believable.
Yeah.
I thought she really nailed the accent, and I thought her big scene in the hotel room late in the movie when she confronts Doug is quite moving, and you know, it was good. But I do think she's a little pretty for the role.
Yeah.
If you've seen, did you see The Fighter, the boxing movie set in Boston? Remember the sisters? I think someone like that maybe would have been a better choice.
Someone a little more rough and because I couldn't stop seeing her as the gossip girl type. So.
But I mean, and it's not really her fault. I think she really tried to break away from it.
Yeah.
But they're sort of if you compare Blake Lively with the sisters, it's very different from The Fighter.
So John Hamm, who is known for his role as Don Draper in Mad Men, I know you love Mad Men.
I do love Mad Men.
Plays an FBI agent. And how is this against his type? It's kind of with the Blake Lively same thing.
Yeah, he, you know, so they're both primarily television actors. John Hamm, this is his first major film role. He didn't really have a breakthrough until Mad Men, and he's almost 39. So this is his first big Hollywood role. And in Mad Men, he drinks a lot, he smokes a lot, he beds a lot of women, he's a bad boy. I mean, he's essentially a good man, but he's sort of the bad boy and the anti-hero. And in this movie, he's more of the straight-up, straight-laced, good guy. So he really does play against type, I think, in this movie. But and just like Blake Lively, it is hard for people watching the movie, I think, to think of him as something other than Don Draper, and you expect him to pull out the cigarette and start, you know, chasing secretaries around the desk. But I think he pulls it off well. He doesn't have a huge role, but
definitely. I thought he did a great job. So Ben Affleck actually directed this film, which I did not know. What do you think? How do you think he did with his directing?
You know, I think he did a good job. He kept it really simple, and there's something to be said for simple, clean direction. You know, the editing, the cinematography didn't really distract from the great action sequences, like that great car chase when they're wearing the nun habits and the scary old man mask. I thought that was a great scene. It was, you know, he didn't try to mess too much with, you know, the handheld cameras. He just kept it point of view shots from the car going down those alleys. And, you know, I thought that was a great scene. I thought he got great performances out of his actors, which is an important, you know, I think actors who turn into directors tend to do that very well. They know how to work with actors. So
that makes sense.
Yeah. I think, What did you think? Do you think he did a good job?
I thought it was great. I was fascinated to find out that he actually directed it, too. So.
And it's his second film.
Wow.
And I did not see the first, which was Gone Baby Gone, or Gone Daddy Gone.
So this did pretty well for being only the second film.
Yeah.
So my last question for you is, the town essentially depicts an all-male world.
Yes.
In both the investigators and the criminals. So what role do you think the women actually played in this movie?
Well, I mean, most crime films tend to focus on men. There's not a whole lot of crime movies that have all-female casts. So it's not surprising that they don't have major roles, but I would say if I have one major criticism of the film is I didn't love the depiction of women. I think they're either like Blake Lively, where they're, you know, this strung out woman, she's irresponsible, she doesn't take care of her daughter, or it's Claire, who's this weepy victim. So I thought he could have done a better job of giving us maybe some more interesting, balanced female characters. But you can't expect too much from a crime film.
Right.
So.
Well, thank you so much. I loved your answers. It was great talking to you.
It's great talking to you. Thanks for having me.
And I hope you guys enjoy the movie.